Hey small groups, welcome to week 2 of our focus season, Breakthrough. In our first week, we introduced this concept of 4 stages of our spiritual journey, from looking for something to found it to following it, and finally the 4th stage, all about it. Every week, we'll be talking about the barriers that we face at each stage and how to break through rather than break down. I know that we can't all directly relate to every single stage, but the fact of the matter is each of us has something to gain each week because we can learn how to better help each other and others as we move through these stages together. Now here's a recap from this past Sunday's message where we talked about the spiritual stage of looking for something. Corey kicked off his sermon by talking about the importance of living with a sense of purpose. You might remember his story about searching for a car to buy by driving around and sort of hoping to stumble upon one worth buying that would grab his attention versus researching which specific cars were out there that matched what he was looking for and going directly to those, right? And so we were challenged to live intentionally, but we were also encouraged not to just choose something that we'd like to live for, not to choose that one thing that was it for us, but rather we were invited to trust Jesus when he tells us that the kingdom of heaven is what's worth living for. Now, this kingdom of heaven isn't just a place after this life, but it's a new way of living, this life that begins with a decision. As we heard, and as you might imagine, there can be a few barriers to taking this step in our spiritual journey of looking for something to found it. Now, Corey shared that oftentimes the ingredients to growth, right knowledge, right affections, right practice, and right community, can also be barriers to growth. In other words, people have intellectual questions about faith that create barriers and keep people from this new way of living. And people also have emotional issues when it comes to Christianity. Maybe their past experiences somehow turn them off to Christianity. Maybe there's a hurt, or maybe it's hard to believe that a God of love could allow so much suffering. And people also have practices that they know would be difficult for them to give up if they were to follow Jesus. And finally, there's community. Oftentimes a bad church experience keeps people from being open to Christianity, or maybe our community itself isn't open to Christianity. And we know that if we were to live in a new way, it might cause us to lose our community. Well, whether you're a Christian or not, chances are you can relate to many of these barriers and have felt them before. You know other people who have these barriers too. And so how do we break through, or how do we help others to break through? Well, Corey gave us a few options, but his main one was this: explore from the posture of wanting to believe and identify what your real barriers are. In other words, be receptive and then be intentional. Now it's time to hear your thoughts. Have a great small group meeting, and thank you for taking the time to make your small group a priority.